Hi, everyone. Welcome to True Talk Podcast. I am your host, Jenna. Today, I want to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart because of everything that I've been through. So, for those of you who do not know, March is known as Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month. Multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune disease that can be very, very debilitating. I battled some sort of autoimmune disease for about 3 years. I go into a lot more detail about my story and my journey in the first episode. So make sure you go check that out and listen to that. When I was going through everything, when symptoms started to appear, and I was having more and more neurological difficulties getting testing done. The doctors were not sure what it was I had because of lesions that they found in my brain through my MRI scans. Because of the lesions, something else called oligoclonal bands that they found in my spinal fluid when they did a spinal tap. And then also with the symptoms I was experiencing, they ultimately ended saying this presents similar to MS, but we can't fully say it, but that's what we're going to treat it as for right now. And so the doctor told me, he's like, I suggest that you check out the National MS Society website, join a support group in honor of it being National MS Awareness Month. I want to talk about what I went through in that year thinking that that's what I had. MS, multiple sclerosis, like I said, it's an autoimmune disease that affects primarily your motor skills. Some people, they end up having difficulty seeing, so they will develop something called optic neuritis. So essentially, what happens is in our brains, we have neurons and they pass messages. And what happens is the lesions in the brain attack that protective cover. So, like this wire inside this rubber covering, this black covering, there's thin copper wires, red wires, blue wires, whatever. And essentially what's happening is the lesions attack that protective outer layer of the neurons and gets damaged. And what happens is then causes a delay for the messages being sent from the brain to the rest of the body to be able to control your hands like I'm doing right now. A lot of MS patients, they may become paralyzed. They will experience numbness and tingling in their legs and feet and extremities, even in their hands. It can be painful. It's honestly, it can be very different for every person. No MS patient will be the same. I think they might have similar symptoms, but not each person is going to experience the same thing. With my case, because I was experiencing left sided weakness, I started having the tremor in my hands, the tremor in my knee, and then in my right hand. And then when I would get overheated and I started to get blurred vision in the one eye, they were like, this presents really similar to MS. So it was through a period of time that we were just kind of not relieved, but we were like, okay, this is what it is. We have an answer for right now, and this is what we're going to go with. Now, what happens to me in my mind? I'm 23 at the time, almost 24. Actually, I was 24 when we started to say that I had MS. My parents never really wanted me to say that I had MS because the doctors were still so unsure and they didn't want to pinpoint that it was MS. But it was just the easiest way for me to explain what I was going through, and I would tell people I have something similar to MS. So doing more research and just going down the rabbit hole, it was so incredibly terrifying because I saw MS patients with canes and walkers, young people. And speaking about the young thing, that was something that shocked me. I was like, there's no way, just like I said in my first episode, there is no way 23, healthy 23-year-old is now going to be diagnosed with MS. There's no way. But after doing more research and stuff, apparently it's within that 21 to like 28 range that is like the prime time that females will be diagnosed with MS. It's more common in females than it is in males, and it's such a young age and so upsetting. So after seeing that, I'm like, I guess I'm in that target range. But I started to try and find comfort and support in other people who have MS. And so, on social media, connecting with other autoimmune or MS patients. And I was seeing though that I wasn't having the exact same symptoms as them. A lot of them have those lower extremity numbness and tingling. But regardless, I started looking on the National MS website and, I was doing research through there. And it got to the point where I was like, all right, I'm going to own this and this is what it's going to be. And I'm going to try to make the best out of this situation. April of 2021. So, you know how they do the walk for breast cancer, for Alzheimer's, or for the polar bear plunge, like all these different fundraising walks, they have one for MS, the National MS Society. So we had one nearby my house. It was the walk for MS, and the outpouring of love and support that I got from family, friends, co-workers, it was so humbling. I created a team, Team Jenna, for the walk. Family from As State came in for it, friends from As State came in for it, and we raised money. Guys, my team raised over $20,000 towards the MS Society. And we were the number one fundraising team at the walk. We were the biggest team at the walk. We were a group of, I think, almost like 200 some people. I think it was like 170, 180. But then like my family members in New York, they got t-shirts that said Team Jenna on it. And I felt so much love that day. And to see how many people came out to support me and support the cause of MS, it was just so humbling. I am still to this day so grateful for every single person that donated or that came to the walk. It meant the absolute world to me. Even though I was making the best out of the situation, out of being an MS patient, I still did not want to stick with that. I mean, let's just talk about some of the fears that I had. I was terrified that I was going to become paralyzed the next day, any day. Every morning that I got up and I was able to walk, I did my cross. I'm like, thank you, God. Because I was terrified that I would wake up and drop to my knees and not be able to walk and be wheelchair bound. Like I said in one of my other episodes, the condition took a lot from me for a period of time. My ability to write, my ability to even hold a bottle without shaking, my ability to speak without a tremor. And it took those things away from me for a period of time, but it never, I wasn't going to let it take away my positivity, my smile, and my optimism that I was going to beat this and get better. It was in that year that I was going and getting the infusions, getting the medications, still following up with the neurologist, going, getting blood work, getting testing, because we still had this unknown. But getting and experiencing a glimpse of what MS patients go through was something that really humbled me and just shocked me. You know, I've said before, I would wake up and have to fight my own body. It wasn't like I was fighting somebody else. It was I had to fight against the symptoms of the tremors and of all of that and push through. And there's people with MS that it becomes so debilitating that they become wheelchair bound. They can't get out of bed. They can't continue to work. They stop working. And it just becomes so depressing. So, what happened was we had a second opinion of my MRI scans. And he looked at them, and I kind of knew deep down that it wasn't MS. Towards the end of the year of 2021 is when I was like, no, this isn't MS. There's no way. This is something else. I don't know what it is. I don't know the name, but I know myself. I know my body, and I trust in God. I know this isn't MS. I know I'm not going to have to fight this for the rest of my life. I am going to get better. I'm going to be stronger than what I was before. So, getting the second opinion from a radiologist who read my scans, he listed off criteria to my mom. My mom spoke to him on the phone, and he was saying that the lesions for typical MS patients, the lesions are found in gray matter, but for mine, my lesions were being found in the white matter. And then saying that typical MS patients have numbness and tingling and paralyzation from the waist down. And thank God I didn't have that. I had a buckle, like my left knee would buckle. So I essentially had like a tremor in my left knee when I would put weight on it. But I didn't have that numbness and tingling. So there were other things I can't exactly remember right now, but he said he was confident in saying this is not MS. So from that point forward was when we started to really explore other therapies and other ways. You know, we told the neurologist that I was seeing at the time, we told him, we don't think this is MS. And he didn't really have any answers. He was just like, yeah, we didn't say it was, but that's what it presents similar to. So that's how we are attacking this. that didn't bring any comfort or any answers to us. And it was upsetting. It was defeating almost. He didn't know. The neurologist and any doctor isn't going to know exactly what you are feeling and going through because it's your body that's going through it. So you can only do the best that you can to explain it. But since that year and experiencing the walk for MS and learning more about the disease and people who suffer from it has become something so near and dear to my heart. I empathize a lot with MS patients because I got a glimpse of symptoms that they deal with on a daily basis. And so the National MS Society and MS in general is something that hits really close to home for me. And I think that it always will. There is so much unknown when it comes to autoimmunes, especially because you don't know what the future is going to look like. You don't know what the next day is going to look like because on Monday you might have had an okay day symptom wise and how you were feeling, but Tuesday you might wake up and be in excruciating pain, not be able to walk, so it was the unknown of what my life was going to look like from there on that terrified me and my family, where we didn't know. We know what my future would look like. Naturally, I started thinking of the future of being a mom and being a wife. Am I going to be able to support my family and be there and play with my kids? Am I even going to be able to have kids? And am I selfish for having kids and putting them at risk of passing down the gene of MS? So there was so much unknown that was going through my mind at 23. At 23. I'm going to be on medication for the rest of my life. Okay, what if it goes dormant, but what if it comes back? It was so many questions that we had that there were no answers for. The reason why I wanted to talk about this is, like I said, is something that I hold very close to me, close to my heart. My mission is to continue to help the National MS Society and those with MS. I am blessed and fortunate that I was misdiagnosed and I don't deal with that. I don't suffer from it. But there's people who do. And my heart and my prayers and my support goes to all of them and anybody who might be listening right now that is struggling with an autoimmune or MS or any illness. My heart, my love, my prayers go out to you all. But I want to end on a more positive note. Yes, is MS something that's very debilitating and something that can cause people to have to live a completely different life? Absolutely. But there are some badass MS warriors out in the world that are continuing to live their life no matter what it is, no matter what symptom comes their way, they are pushing through and they are the true warriors. And they are people that I honestly look up to because that's what I'm trying to do is I wasn't going to let it stop me from living my life and I never will. I don't think I ever could see myself doing. So, to anyone who is battling something, an illness, you gotta keep pushing, keep moving, go to the gym. Don't go to the gym, just get out, walk every day. I have a neighbor in my neighborhood. His name's Mr. Bill, and he has Parkinson's. This man is out, rain, sleet, snow, sunshine, whatever the weather, and he is out there and he is walking and moving his body because he has said that that is the only thing that helps him, and a healthy diet and stuff. But movement, he said, if he stops moving, everything else stops. So he's like a hero to me. I mean, the man is up in age and he is moving. When I tell you, like, I can't even keep up with him if I were to walk next to him. So it's incredible. Like, don't think that just because you get a diagnosis or you start having difficulty with something, that that's it. That's going to be the rest of your life. It's not. You're in control of it. You guys sit there, implement the new routine of eating healthier, of working out, of exercising, get your body moving, increase your strength, because that's what's going to help you. I promise it will not cause any harm. It can only help you. And it's what saved me. So, with all of that being said, I am just so immensely grateful and blessed and humbled by everyone's support throughout my entire journey. Whether it was we thought I had Lyme or I had MS, and to now still not knowing what it is that I battle, but now being healthy and hopefully being able to help other people and inspire other people. That is what my mission is. Don't ever stop believing and keep your faith. It is what will carry you through. I promise you. I am going to put in the show notes the link to the National MS Society, and a link for where you can donate towards the society. Their mission, the National MS Society's mission, is to live in a world free of MS, and I believe that we can. I believe and know that we can get to a point where we will live in a world free of autoimmunes that are being caused from hormones and chemicals being put into our foods and into products that we use. But we got to get out there and we got to educate everyone first. That's the first step. That's the most important step. So I will put that in the show notes, in the description, in the caption. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the True Talk podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow the channel, like this video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe so that you can be a part of the True Crew, make a difference out in this world. Let's do it together. We are only better if we do it together as a team. Join so you can be a part of the True Crew. Follow me on social media at Jenna to keep up with all the things coming. I have so many exciting things to come. Tune in and follow so you don't miss the upcoming episodes. I have more guests that will be joining me next week. I have such a fun show to share with you guys. So keep loving, keep laughing, keep living, keep smiling, and keep going, guys. I believe in you. You got this.